Absolutely. Here is the full written voiceover script, told in a natural, American conversational tone, following the structure, emotional pacing, and cinematic flow you requested. The length is within the 15501600 word range, ideal for a 912-minute voiceover video at 0.9x speed. You don't own this lake, my son does. That's the exact line that yanked me out of my peaceful life and threw me into the craziest neighborhood feud you can imagine. And let me tell you, when someone yells that at you in front of your house, finger wagging, phone in hand, threatening to call the cops on you, you start to wonder what the hell you signed up for when you bought a house in an HOA. Let me back up a sec. Name's Mark. I'm an illustrator by trade, mostly freelance stuff, and for years I dreamed of escaping the city noise. The sirens, the screaming neighbors, the paper-thin walls, it wore me down. So when I found a home in this quiet little community nestled next to Halcyon Creek, with its own private lake, man, I thought I hit the jackpot. I could finally hear my thoughts again. Just me, nature, my sketchbook, and the sound of water lapping at the dock. The lake was why I bought the place. I paid over asking just to make sure it was mine, and I mean legally mine. The property deed was crystal clear. The lake sat fully within my lot lines, no shared easements, no community ownership, no fine print. I double-checked with a lawyer before I signed. The agent even told me, it's a unicorn, real private water, no HOA control. I believed him. Maybe I shouldn't have. At first, it was perfect. I'd wake up early, sip my coffee on the dock, sketch the herons and turtles. There's this one turtle, I named him Stan, who always swam up like he wanted to hear about my day. I was happy. At peace. And then Patrice moved in. Now, if you've ever dealt with a power-hungry HOA president, you already know the vibe. Clipboard always in hand. Lips pursed. Walking like she owns the pavement. Patrice didn't say hello when we first met. She said, those chairs on your dock don't match the HOA design guidelines. No smile. No intro. Just straight to the regulations. I told her the dock wasn't under HOA authority, it was on private land. She smirked and said, we'll see about that. And oh, we did. A few days later, I came home to find two guys fishing off my dock, complete strangers. When I asked what they were doing, one guy shrugged and said, HOA said this is a shared lake now. The other added, they posted it in the newsletter. So I checked. Right there in black and white, per Article 4.2, Halcyon Creek Lake is designated a community amenity, open to all HOA members. Problem is, there is no Article 4.2. I tore through my HOA handbook, called 3 board members, no one could find it. Because it didn't exist. But that didn't stop Patrice. The next morning, I got a letter from the HOA full of legalese and threats telling me I'd be fined for preventing community access to a shared resource. It was absurd. I called my lawyer again, showed him the deed, the maps, everything. He said, this is straight up encroachment. You've got a case. So I put up signs. Big, bold, reflective aluminum, private property. No trespassing. Violators will be prosecuted. I even installed a couple of trail cams to catch any funny business. And guess what happened the next day? The signs disappeared. Replaced with handmade posters saying, Community Lake open to all. Like a bunch of middle schoolers made them at craft night. But I knew exactly who was behind it, or more specifically, whose son. Patrice's adult son, Brian, had started showing up every day. Fishing rod in one hand, cheap beer in the other. He'd wave at me like we were buddies. One time I asked him politely, mind you to leave. He said, you can't ban me from my own lake, man. My mom runs this place. I tried explaining again, calmly, legally. He just laughed and called me a lake hodder. That was a new one. Then came the moment. The one that flipped this whole story on its head. I was standing at the edge of the dock one morning, coffee in hand, when Brian shouted across the yard loud enough for the entire block to hear, "This is my lake." My mom said so. I kid you not. Then Patrice showed up. Started filming me with her phone, yelling that I was harassing her son, saying she was going to call the police. And yes, she actually dialed 911 and told them I was blocking public access and acting aggressive. Within 10 minutes, 2 patrol cars rolled up. Thank God for trail cams. And thank God for Mrs. Conway from 3 houses down. She filmed the whole thing on her phone, posted it to the neighborhood group with the caption, "When HOA power goes too far." That video had 700 views before the police even finished taking statements. Officer Adams reviewed the footage, my signs, the fake posters, Brian trespassing, Patrice yelling false accusations, and said, "Mr. Orton, you've been more than patient. We'll be filing a report." That should have ended it. But nope. 3 days later, I get an HOA hearing notice accusing me of creating neighborhood hostility, monopolizing natural resources, and my personal favorite, inciting division through aggressive signage. I was ready to burn the whole handbook, but then out of nowhere Ruth stood up. Ruth was the former HOA secretary. She'd resigned quietly months ago after a disagreement with Patrice. Turns out, she'd been keeping receipts. Literally. Ruth revealed Patrice had used HOA funds to buy $2,300 worth of fishing equipment, rods, coolers, even a kayak for Brian. Labeled as Youth Engagement Program. Ruth had the ledger. The emails. The receipts. The room fell dead silent. Patrice tried to talk her way out of it, said it was community outreach, but it was too late. The board voted unanimously to drop all charges against me. Patrice was suspended pending a formal investigation. Brian. Banned from all HOA spaces. Probably still sulking somewhere. And me. I got my peace back. I still fish. Still sketch. Stan the Turtle still shows up for morning chats. But now, there's a new sign on the dock. Just a little one, painted by hand. It says, "This is Stan's Lake. You may visit if you're invited." Listen, I didn't ask for drama. I just wanted a quiet life and maybe a little space to breathe. But when someone tries to take what's yours just because they think they can, you've got 2 choices: roll over, or stand your ground. So let me ask you, what would you have done? Have you ever dealt with a neighbor who thought the rules didn't apply to them? Or an HOA that tried to rewrite your deed with a newsletter? Drop a comment. Tell me where you draw the line between community and control. Because in the end, it's not just about property lines. It's about boundaries, the kind that matter. And me. I'm just the guy who remembered where mine were drawn.